a listener production.
Hey, it's Chris Spyrou with you, and yes, you've clicked on the right episode. I am jumping in for the weekend briefing this week where we chat with the humans in the headlines. My chat today is with someone who got their start in the media industry as a music journalist, and they started off doing a bunch of off-air work for names like Osher Gunsberg before landing a huge hosting gig on the telly some of you listening might still remember her from. She then went on to dip her toe into radio, working her way through a number of shows before becoming the host of her very own that played right across the country.
A to the S to the H. Do it again.
In that time, you also might have called her on Channel 10's Have You Been Paying Attention, or taking on one of the most lucrative yet brutal slots in Australian radio. Since then, she's had a kid, released her debut book, which she describes as a love letter to an industry that broke her heart, and most recently made the move across the ditch, where she's once again on the airwaves. I am, of course, talking about the wonderful Ash London, and as always, we've also got the weekend list with Helen Smith coming up, where we recommend what to watch, see, do, eat, and listen to. But first, here's my chat with Ash. Ash London, welcome to the weekend briefing.
Thank you, my darling. Wonderful to be here.
Now, I want to start this interview,
Yes.
I want to start with two words. Ricky Martin.
Oh, my man, Enrique. Gosh, I'm still coming down from the high. I don't know why I didn't think he would be in Super Bowl halftime performance. Of course, he was always going to do it. It didn't occur to me, Chris. So when I say it was a true surprise, it was everything and more. And everyone in the room that I work with knows. So it was just a beautiful moment. There are no words. I could talk for the next 30 minutes about Ricky if you want to do that. There are no words for how much he means to me.
Well, I think one of the greatest things about working in our industry is that you're constantly being filmed and recorded. And thank God your team in NZ managed to capture this moment. I'm going to play it for our listeners. Now, Ash, I didn't know Ricky Martin had an extra name in there.
Yes, because someone before that was riling me up and said, oh, is that Enrique Iglesias? And I said, no, it's Enrique Martin Morales. So that's his full name. And then when he joined Menudo, the boy band he was in, I guess they Americanized it, they shortened it, and he just became Ricky Martin. So I was trying to educate the people.
Yeah, well, talk to me about this love of Ricky Martin. I know this goes, this is years
So
and years
far
and
back.
years and years and years. I was actually listening to you talk about how you had a phone interview with him a few years ago and it ended in tears.
Yes. So I've interviewed, for context for anyone listening, I've interviewed literally, apart from Beyonce, everyone. I don't get nervous in interviews. I've been doing it for 20 years. I've flown around the world for 4 minutes with X, Y, and Z. This is my job. They're normal people. If I do my job well, they look great, and vice versa. I don't get nervous. I vowed never to interview Ricky Martin because my number one rule in all interviews is be a cool hang.
Okay.
You don't have to be the funniest. You don't have to do you just have to be a cool hang, okay? And I knew that there was no world in which I could be a cool hang around Ricky. So I'd been offered interviews before. I said, I just can't do it. And every now and then my co-host would do this thing where he'd pretend, because he could, at the time, I would face my co-host and he would face the glass. So I couldn't see what was behind me. And his favorite joke, and he could only pull it off once a year, was to look behind me and pretend something was going on. And every time I'd be like, oh my God, it's Ricky here. Because he knew. So I'd always said no to Ricky Martin interviews, but a phone chat came up. And I was like, you know what? I can be a cool hang for a phone chat. And I was like, okay, Lundo, be a cool hang. Don't tell him you love him. Don't make a big deal. Just you've
be
done
cool.
your research.
Play it cool.
Be cool.
You got it. Yeah.
He answers and he's like, hello, Ash. And I'm like,
He said your name. He said your name.
He's my name. And I was like, Ricky, I just want to let you know that I've loved you my whole life. And when I was younger, I legitimately thought we were going to get married and I love you. And I wasn't going to tell you I loved you, but I've just told you I loved you. And he goes, Ash, never be ashamed of who you love. And I was
Ricky, come through.
Come through, Ricky. And he was like, he took all of the embarrassment away. He's like, indulge in your passions, indulge in the things that you love, even if people think it's funny. And I think that's like a piece of advice I've always carried from my man.
Oh my God, I love that so much. Now, look, you did mention your childhood there, and this is the weekend briefing where we get to learn everything about our guest. And I want to talk about your childhood. You moved around quite a bit, right?
Yes. I grew up in Melbourne until I was about 11. And then my dad got a job in the Philippines. So I'd never been overseas before. I'm a Lebanese, first generation Australian. I've never been anywhere. But my first trip overseas was moving to Manila, which at the time there were very few expats.
How old are we at this point?
I'm
How
like
old are we?
11.
Okay, we're 11. How's the Philippines for an 11-year-old?
Hot.
Yep.
Very overwhelming. Nothing like home.
Yeah.
You're being stared at everywhere because there aren't many Caucasian people around. It was very overwhelming and I was very homesick for the first 2 years, I think. I just hated it. I wanted to come home, really resented my parents for making me move there. My brother's like 9 years older than me, so he stayed behind and we're very close. So I resented that I was away from him. And then eventually my mum sat me down one day. She's like, look, babe, we're going to be here for a while. So you can either enjoy yourself or you can not enjoy yourself. But that's kind of up to you at this point. And then I just made great friends and started to really kind of like tap into the expat life. And it ended up being incredible. But I felt very, very far away from anything that was normal and familiar to me. And also, like when you're going through puberty, you don't want to be different. You don't want people to look at you. You want to kind of fade into the background. So every time I left the house, there's kind of a tension when you're, that age, when you're white and you're out in this Asian country. And it is very different now. Like I've been back since. This was like nearly 30 years ago. It's so different and there's so much more buildings and restaurants and shopping. And you're seeing people in their 20s and 30s out and about. Like going to a restaurant, that wasn't a thing when I was there. It is one of my favorite countries. But music and music television was the thing that kind of anchored me back to something that felt familiar. So I would, when you're young in a country like that, you can't just go out with your friends or like that was a thing. No, you went to someone's house or if you went out, you went with parents or a lot of my friends had bodyguards and that's kind of how we lived. Yeah.
All right, bougie.
Yeah, super bougie. But also it's just like that was very normal for them.
Yeah.
So I kind of retreated into a world of MTV and I really do. And this is like 99. And I was like also going through puberty at this time. So it was like.
Yeah.
Lots
She's like,
of
Mum,
feelings.
watch me do this choreography. Watch what's going down. So a pop girly, big pop girly.
Big time.
And then you set your sights on music journalism. Is it in that moment of consuming music or was it watching things like TRO where you're like, shit, I want to do that, man?
It was all of the above. I knew that I loved music and I wanted to be a part of that world, but I knew that I didn't want to be a musician. So I was like, well, and I always had the gift of the gab.
Okay, you've got the gift of the gab, but musically inclined?
I am, yeah. I can sing a little bit.
Yep.
And I've got rhythm and I have an understanding of like how music is made. Like
That's
I
important.
know music because it's one of my greatest passions, but I would certainly never consider myself a singer or a musician. But yeah, I always, watched, TRO, which I did go on to host one day in Australia. And I was like,
gosh, you did.
That's what I want to do. And I just always had this strange knowing that it would happen.
You did the conventional pathway, quote unquote. Like you did a uni degree. Was that a media and comms degree?
The same thing that I think if anyone in our industry who actually went to uni did the media and comms degree where they were, they pretty much told us, like none of you are ever going to make any money from this.
Yeah.
So get good at a side hustle. And this is at like a great university doing, a great degree. I got a great enter score. And they pretty much said, you're going to be poor, which wasn't great. But I just always knew. So I did go the conventional route. And look, it helped me. I don't think I would have the job I have now if it wasn't for uni.
Well, that's really interesting because, it did get you to a pretty awesome gig at the age of 24, The Loop. 24 years old, hosting a national bloody music show on television. Talk to me about the moment you got the call that you had landed this gig.
Well, first of all, I knew it was my job. The second I saw it advertised,
is that just the confidence in you, or you like?
I just knew.
Okay,
it
was a
confidence.
Feeling.
It was a feeling. It was a vibe. It was a
She's
knowing.
tapped into it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, obviously it changed my life and I was the happiest person when I got the call. But when I saw the ad for it, at the time I was writing for a radio show that was hosted by Osher Gunsberg, and he was in LA. So I had never met him, but I did a lot of research for him and prep and stuff. So we emailed and I saw the ad go up and I was like, I'm going to ask Osher what he thinks.
Are we talking seek.com? Are we where are we seeing this?
No, it was like a competition. So it was going around. I mean, did we even have socials back then? I don't even know how I came across it. The internet somehow.
The internet. Good answer.
Yes. And it was like, send it, because Scott Tweedy had already got the gig. It was like, Scott
Pank
needs
Patrols,
a co-host.
Scott Tweedy.
Pank Patrol, that's right. We're the ninjas. Everywhere we went for years. Where are the ninjas, Scotty? So I sent the ad. He's like, you should absolutely do it. I used the office studio to do my audition, and then we sent it off and I got a call back. So I'd been doing interviews at that point, but I was very well versed in the art of sitting down with someone. But at that point, I would do the interview and they would cut my voice out and then they would put Kyle and Jack or Osher or someone else would then, so it was a great way to learn how to do interviews because no one ever knew it was me. And if I did a shithouse job, no one would ever know. And then, I got a call back. And I went in and did the callback in Sydney. And my friend Janet did my hair and makeup. Shout outs to you, Janet.
Shout out, Janet.
And then I got the gig and it paid nothing. And I had to move to Sydney and I couldn't even afford my rent. But the company that I was working for, writing for the radio show, said, well, we'll keep you on a couple days a week. So I continued writing and then I started hosting the show that I was writing for, Take 40, which was my favourite radio show growing up with Barry Bissell. I kind of did the TV a couple of days a week and the radio a couple of days a week, but I never wanted to do radio. I always thought that was lame and boring and what could audio possibly grow into? Nothing.
And then?
I tried out a proper radio show with a co-host and I thought, this is actually pretty fun. And then they offered me the night show from there on the radio show with the guy that I was hosting Take 40 with. And then I did both and then eventually because TV, as you know, is a lot of standing around, whereas radio is
a lot of rush, and then wait for your call.
Stand here for 2 hours.
Yeah, so whereas radio is like...
Oh, my gosh. The immediacy of it. It's like we've got 4 hours of content that we need to get to air in an hour.
Yep.
So you are going to fly by the seat of your pants. You're going to have an idea. You're going to talk about it. You're going to move on. And that suited me much better. And I was given a lot more freedom in radio to be more creative, to work on my own kind of schedule and to do things the way I wanted to do things. Suited me a lot better. And then I left TV, left the loop, which is hard because Scott Tweedy was and continues to be the nicest human being to ever exist on the planet.
Yeah.
It was the right thing. And then I just fell in love with radio.
And then you become the host of your own show that has your own bloody name in it, the Ash London Live. The Ash London show is the one you're doing now, but Ash London Live, named on the show. What was that feeling like, Ash?
It was really cool because I just didn't think it would happen. So for full disclosure, I did radio for a couple of years and then I kind of left and had a little overseas adventure. And then a woman took over the network and then she called my manager and said, Ash needs to come home. Let's have a chat.
I love this.
Yeah. And so I sat down with her with no intention of coming back to radio. Yeah. And she said, well, Ash, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to do a show on my own and I don't want it to be about gossip and I want it to be a music show, but that's not going to happen, is it? And she was like, well, yeah, it can happen. That's what you want to do. You can do that. So she gave me, sometimes you just need someone in power to say you can do that. Well, most of the time these days you need someone.
Yeah, as Lady Gaga famously once said, there can be 100 people in a room.
True.
All you need is just one to believe in you.
Just the one.
Yeah.
And she was the one.
Yeah.
And even at that point, I wasn't sure I could do it. But I was like, well, if Gemma says I can do it, I'm going to bloody well do it. So I chose my team. We called it Ash London Live. And we got stuck in. And I had some of the best years of my life. At the time, I thought it was all very normal to hop off to, LA 4 or 5 times a year or
sit
wherever
poolside,
and go to the awards. And do all these things and work pays. And now I look back on it, I'm like, that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it was kind of the glory days. I got the end of the glory days, But there was, the record labels had so much money and they were splashing it around, and I was very lucky. I got to like have some incredible experiences, but I think the thing I'm proudest of is that I was a woman doing it solo with an incredible team around me. Don't get me wrong. I couldn't have done it without anchors and producers and of course. Yeah. But to have my name on the show and not have to be, you know, Ash and
so-and-so,
Angus or a guy, it meant a lot. And funnily enough, though, even at the end of that 5 years, I still don't think I really like knew that I was, how do I describe it? Didn't have the confidence on air that I have now.
Really? Okay, so I'll give you from the other side of the bloody screen because we are doing this remotely, damn it. But I used to listen to your show. Like, it's a very big part of why I kind of working here because the show that you had is the network that we belong to and blah, 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 blah. Your show was very different radio for the time. It was very different to what other shows sounded like. You didn't really have, and correct me if I'm wrong, but my memory and recollection of it wasn't this high energy. There was high energy, of course. You've got wonderful energy, but it wasn't this like music in the background going, today on the show, we're doing this. You just sat back, chatted. If you were having a shit day, you were having a shit day. You still did the show and did it like quite honestly and thing. I never got the sense that you were someone who wasn't confident on air. That's crazy to me.
Well, it was confident in my personality, confident in my ability to like communicate. And I love that you noticed that because it was always going to be like that for me. I'm not Smallsy. No one is ever going to put a show to air like Smallsy because no one can do it like that. I certainly can't. So I knew I was never going to do that. And I wanted something that felt like a conversation. I wanted it to feel like normal people would talk. I don't edit breaths out of my interviews. I let artists think for a couple of seconds. And if that means there's some dead air, that's fine. But I think when it came to maybe like honest opinions, fear of being judged, I think there still was a lot of that, especially being a woman, because we got so much very instant feedback from people.
Right.
And people didn't like hearing, and maybe to some degree still maybe don't, opinions they didn't agree with. You know, like I would mention being Lebanese and every time someone would call in and tell one of the producers on the phone they didn't want to hear about her Muslim faith, which I'm not Muslim, but they just kind of lump it in. This would happen over and over again. And over time that eats away at you and you kind of do start to second guess yourself. And that's when it was always fun to me, but there definitely got to a period where I was second guessing so much because I was so scared of feedback, of reactions, of being misinterpreted or things being misconstrued. Now I really don't care.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to work through that and you have to evolve through that and grow through that. But I'm really proud that the show we put to air was a very much an honest reflection of me as a person. And a nice alternative.
Well, talk to me about how a person like that, you know, who rightfully so is, I don't want to say overthinker, but he's someone who is thinking through these processes and kind of like second guessing themselves. How does a person like that then go on to say yes to one of the most competitive and cutthroat markets in the radio industry in Australia, Sydney Breakfast Radio?
Money.
And
just money.
I admire the honesty, Ash.
I've like no one in my position would have said no to that show with that money.
Yeah.
It was a lot of money. And I had been in the office from Rove and Sam before that.
Which for people who are unfamiliar, this is the radio station that Carl and Jackie O famously left and every subsequent show
failed afterwards.
Yeah.
So I can say it. I think I started, I guess in the 6 months after they left. So I had this very safe job, which was the night show with very little pressure. So we were so insulated. We just got to have so much fun with our friends and watch as the shows came and went and came and went and came and went. And if I'm perfectly honest, I think I just thought, well, everyone else has had a go and got to earn the money and it's my turn. Stuff it. What's the worst that could happen? No one is going to blame me personally if and when this doesn't work.
Correct.
And they did it.
Yeah.
You know, Grant and Ed did it with me and Grant is a seasoned professional who probably got paid.
Grant Denyer, Ed Cavalier, just keeping out.
Yeah, and Grant Denyer, you know, the nicest man ever, probably got paid to do that, a lot of money to do. Of course he did. And I think selfishly I was like, well, there's more famous people on this show. I'm not going to bear the brunt of it If it doesn't work, I can go back to my night show, which I kept doing through breakfast and then returned to, and maintained great relationships with Grant and Shezzy and Ed and Tiff, who were like all been so amazing to me over the years. My best friend Violet produced the show. Like, we had fun. And I think because I really didn't feel pressure, I wasn't going into it like this is going to work or my career's over. I will love my time there forever. I loved every second of it. I love the people that work there. I love my bosses. For all the shit that it gets in the media, I had a truly wonderful experience there. I met my best friends. I met my husband there. I just had a bloody great time. And then, when it inevitably ended, I got to stay and go back to my night show and then got pregnant. And, it was just, so I had a great run and I bought an apartment in Sydney. So thank you.
Such grown-up behaviour from you, Ash. Such grown-up behaviour. I do want to ask, so you had the 10 years on air and then you take a short break to give birth to your son, Buddy.
The bud man.
You kind of loved becoming a mum. You loved not working for a little bit, right?
Heaven.
Yeah.
So Adrian quit. So we worked, we've never,
your husband,
at this
Adrian?
point, so we'd never worked, we'd always worked in radio. He was like the head of Fox FM and then the assistant head of the network, but we never worked on anything together. So same company, but different things. And then we're in Melbourne, moved to Sydney, did TFM breakfast. He moved with me. Then I quit, he quit, and then I quit. And then COVID happened and we kind of went,
shit.
we've got no jobs.
Yeah.
And we've saved for the rainy day. I can't go to Bunnings one more time on a weekend and roam the aisles. I'm so bored.
Yeah.
I think it's time for a baby. So we did that. And I had this glorious experience of pregnancy. So I worked up until about 30 weeks pregnant and then I finished up for good. And then we had a year at home together, in and out of lockdown. But I just got very lucky in that was an experience that really suited me, especially because I've got a lot of issues around like health anxiety and germophobia. So like having no one visit my newborn. Heaven.
And also coming from like a large ethnic or Middle Eastern family, there's a lot of people that want to see that kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my mother, God bless her, she classic wog. I lived on the same street as my auntie in Sydney.
Oh, yes, you did.
And my mum came up and moved in with her sister and she just dropped food at my doorstep every day. Every day.
Linny G, right?
Lindy G.
Oh, we
she's
love
like,
her.
I'm not going to come in. You need to bond with your family. Like, to her credit, she was
borders.
amazing. Yeah. Serious. I think she learned from her in-laws that she had to, like, the boundary is very important. And she said, I'm here when you need me. I will just drop food over and, a couple of weeks. And, she saw the baby and stuff. It really let us bond as a little unit. And then a couple of weeks in, I called her one night and I was like, I am going to die if I don't sleep. Can you just come and hold him while I sleep? And that became what she would do. She would just come and sit downstairs with him. And obviously I'll cry thinking about it. And I would go and rest, and knowing that he was safe downstairs with Mum was a blessing like no other. But man, now that I'm like back at work and watching all the women around me have to have babies and come back to work after 3 months to earn money again, and kids going into daycare or nannies or whatever, and I think far out what and look, I was so lucky to have the experience that I had with my husband home with me, with nothing else to do but get to know this child and figure out how to be parents.
Yeah.
And if we do decide to have another one, or I don't know, but if we do, the experience will be nothing like that. And I'm sure I'll think back and be like, I didn't know.
I wish I had known. No one told me.
I also really I did grieve the person I was before. And I think it was actually Chrissy Swan. I think I heard her on The Imperfects or some podcast, and she talked about how women are so often told, like, you can't let your job be your identity. You can't. And I was like, and then she said, well, fuck that. Like, my work is my identity, and surely that's okay. And hearing that, I was like, oh, I felt so liberated. Like, yeah, it's actually okay that I love my work so much that I really miss it.
Yeah.
And I maybe don't know who I am anymore, and I have to get to know this whole other person. So yeah, look, I really missed work, but I loved that time away. And that's part of the reason I can now return and really, truly not care what feedback people that I don't know have about me.
I want to talk about your mum for a second longer. You've always spoken so nicely about her mother. And I'm sure my mum's listening now going, I long for the day my sons will ever speak about me this way. But you have spoken so positively and so beautifully about your mum, and you've said in so many times in your life she's really stepped up when you needed her the most. And I guess for you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but no greater time than 2002, sorry to take it here, but the passing of your dad at a really young age. You're 16, you're in year 10. But she goes and does something that most mums you wouldn't think would do in this grieving process. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so it was year 10. We lost Dad really unexpectedly, and Mum bought me a ticket to the UK and was like, you need to go and just go see your cousin. I had an older cousin that lived there. Just have some time away. And now as a parent, I'm like, what the hell? But it was
a different time. It was a different time.
And so I went away and I went and stayed with my cousin in London, and I went to Prague with my big brother who was in Europe at the time, and I just got away. And I think I definitely need it. So often, we'll deal with the trauma of it at some point. There'll be years of therapy and you'll have time to figure it out. But in the immediate, you just need to go and breathe some different air and meet some different people. And in that, a love of travel for me was absolutely born. And I'm so glad for that experience that at the time felt like a totally normal thing to do. And thinking back, and I didn't even know my cousin Jackie that well. Like, I knew her, but like,
we've all got one of those cousins in a random city somewhere that your mum or your grandmother goes, go visit them, knock on their door when you visit. And you're like, what? That's not how this works.
She's like one of, like my cousins were all so close, but, like Jackie's like, I was about to say like family. Yeah, Jackie is like a sister. But I had this wonderful magical time where I just kind of like wandered the streets of London, and it was just magic. And now I will absolutely, encourage Buddy, not when he's 16, maybe a bit older. But yeah, it was so good and I loved it. And I've been addicted to traveling ever since. And Adrian's the same. And that's what we spend all of our money on.
Well, have you got any Jackies in New Zealand now? Any rogue cousins in New Zealand that you can just knock on the door and...
No, but I've made friends and you have to do that. So shout out to you, Damaris. We make friends that become like family, and you have to build a new community, and that's what we've had to do. It helps we've got a 4-year-old because you end up having to find other people with 4-year-olds. But yeah, we've built a little community
You've got mum
here.
friends. You have mum friends.
I was not into it at first. Like when they put me on the WhatsApp mums group when I had Buddy, I was like, leave. Yeah. No. But then I got here and I was like, okay, I need to make some friends, which was quite daunting. But I got so lucky that Buddy's friends' parents are legends. So I've been very lucky on that front. And making new friends at 39 is... Yeah, look, I didn't want to have to do it, but I have.
And she's done it successfully.
Yes, and now I'm like, how did I only meet you a year ago? How is that possible? So it's been really wonderful for me to remember how magical it can be to make new friends. So I'm really glad for that.
Well, congrats, you've made new friends. You've also made a bloody book. So it wasn't enough for you to like birth a human. It wasn't enough for you to like move to New Zealand. You also thought, hey, I'm going to release my debut. I'm going to publish my debut novel.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, crazy.
That's why. Where did that come from?
Well, I think I wasn't getting the call up to go back to radio.
Okay.
So I thought, well, I have to do something. And I'd always been told I could write, so I just did. Yeah. And it was so fun. And I felt like so me sitting in a room writing. And it got me off my phone, honest to God. The best thing about it was that it stopped me doom scrolling. And it was so fun. And if I could make $1 million from it, I would just do that for the rest of my life because I loved writing the book so much. And it was catharsis. And it was a way for me to like reflect on my career and my relationship and love and all of those things. So yeah, Love on the Air came out last April. And I think it's, of all the things I've done career-wise, I think I really am proudest of that because it was something so different and it was so out of the realms of what I'd been told I was good at and could do and, and also it's like a lot of self-control and discipline, and I don't really associate myself with those words generally. So the fact that I could do it, get it done, get the manuscript done on time, do the edits, I'm really proud of myself, and it proved that I actually can be really focused on long-term creative projects if I want to be.
Yeah, well, we'll pop a link to the places you can buy and do all that with the book. But it's what is it? Loosely based or based on your life in commercial radio, meeting your husband.
Yes, the first, I would say, like quarter of the book is pretty like bang on-ish, and then it just goes off into complete fiction territory.
There's defamation lawyers that were involved, I hear.
Yes,
so
had to get defamation lawyers read the whole thing, and because all the bad guys in it, none of them were based off actual people, but we just had to make sure that no real life person was going to read that.
Well done.
Well, the editor made a great point. She was like, if someone reads this book and sees themselves reflected in the bad guy, they need to have a long, hard look at themselves. Like, no one's going to, what's the word?
No one's going to out themselves as the person named in this book, or portrayed in the book.
I was the shitty misogynist boss. How dare she write those things about me?
Oh, horror.
Whoops.
It's interesting because the way that you were talking about the book in, around the time of the release is that you did say you could write books for the rest of your life, but also interestingly you said that you're an introvert and it was so nice to work in silence. Again, not a descriptor I would have associated with you having listened to your shows, podcasts and whatnot.
I think it's who I've become. I don't think I always was. I feel like a different person pre and post child, honest to God. And we know that on a cellular level, women do change forever. And I also think that 10 years of being in a soundproof studio with lots of loud people and lots of loud noises, wearing headphones, does change you forever. So now I just always would love to be alone. And that's why, I do a drive show now, and that works really well for me because between the hours of kindy drop-off at 8:30 and starting work at 12, I'm by myself. I'm literally half naked lying on my grass at the back.
Beautiful.
Grounding myself and chanting and meditating and doing all sorts of weird things in my own time. And I love being by myself, and I think in this period of getting to know this new version of myself, it's been really wonderful for me to go, actually, I'm exhausted from years of being the life of the party and feeling like I have to be the one that's carrying the conversation or asking the questions and doing all those things. It's actually really going to suit me to just sit back. And I would definitely say now that I think they call it an omnivert. I don't really know what the actual word is.
It's that one where it's like you're an introvert extrovert where you love to do things and do all the loud happy things, but you need to recharge solo.
Yes,
you don't get energy.
Absolutely.
Helen's nodding along. Producer Helen at the desk is nodding along going, nailed it.
Yeah.
You've shown no remorse or apologised for her death.
Hi, I'm Alison Sandy, National Investigations Editor at the 7 Network.
He was the last person to see her after they had an argument at their family home.
And I've got a new podcast out.
I've got nothing to say to you.
Kiss and Kill is a deep dive on some of the nation's most notorious killer narcissists and expert abusers.
Very deliberate manipulation.
Examining their telltale signs and patterns of behaviour.
To make her think that she's nuts.
Do you know the single biggest predictor that somebody could escalate dangerously?
So you know exactly what to look out for.
Is that they are controlling.
More women are being murdered by their partners than ever before.
Introducing Kiss and Kill.
He used to call her princess.
To listen, search Kiss and Kill on the Listener app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm curious to know, what's the key difference that you've noticed between New Zealand radio and Australian radio? Because you did fill in for 6 months on the breakfast show there.
I did brekkie for 6 months.
Yes.
Before I launched this show. It's way looser.
Ah, okay.
Like, way looser. Like, I accidentally put a couple of F-bombs to air and they were like, that's fine.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Like, the swearing is different. People are a lot more relaxed. I think it's more creative here. I think budgets are smaller and it's more niche, and the creativity that I see come out of Kiwi broadcasters is world class, honest to God, and that's really suited me.
Well, that's forced you to get behind the producer's desk. Now, I know what that means. I know the toll that takes because I'm responsible for pressing buttons in the morning. And, not good at it. Never have been. Thank God I have an excellent producer, an excellent audio producer who used to work with you, Matthew Curry, cutting our audio every morning.
Maddie, shut up.
Yes, he says hello.
Maddie connected the Ricky Martin call. He was listening in, looking at me through the glass like, you fucking loser, Lundo. Like, I'll never forget it. Curry, I love that man forever.
Oh, that is so on brand for him too.
For so long.
So
exactly.
very on brand for him.
He was like, are you joking? Yeah, I've had to press the buttons on a new show.
How's that going?
Love it.
I listened to the first or the second one or the podcast.
Oh, no. I'm mortified you'd never listen to the first ones. Give me 2 weeks, Chris.
Well, I heard that we were going to chat to you and I was like, oh, let me listen to this show because I kind of stumbled across you when you were covering breakfast and I was like, Ash London's back on the airwaves. Yes.
She's back, baby.
You did a great job and then you called out that you made a mistake, you silly goose. Always pretend that you never made the mistake.
Look, do you know for so long I thought it was so hard to panel a radio show and people told me that and I believed them.
Uh-oh.
And now that I've learned, I'm like,
oh no. Ash London, this is one person's job. Historically, one person would do this and a bit of announcing. But you're hosting and doing the buttons. It's
hosting with a music show, high production music show with 2 co-hosts.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not Tim Blackwell, but maybe one day. I am getting there and I'm loving it and I'm enjoying it and it's given me a new level of control that I didn't have before. And I'm so proud of myself for learning. An old dog has officially learned a new trick and I'm stoked. I'm loving it.
We're getting around
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So if anyone out there, if someone's saying, that's too hard, you can't learn to do that. Yes, you can. Of course you can.
Well, Ash, we're running out of time, which is such a shame because I've very much enjoyed this chat. You're big on meditation. You're big on mindfulness. I want you to leave us on a very positive note. If someone's listening, they're in a rut or they've had a shit day, I mean, they'd have a great time now after listening to us chat. But if they're having a shit day and they want to turn it around, is there a mantra? Is there something we can say to turn it around? Ash London, the floor
my
is
number
yours.
one mantra is a happy life is a series of happy days. So it's not this big thing that we're trying to achieve and one day I'm going to do X, Y, and Z and I'm going to be happy and that makes a happy life. No. Find an opportunity today for a bit of gratitude, a bit of happiness, call your friend and have a laugh, go and order your favorite coffee, whatever it is to have a moment of happy in your day. And then do that tomorrow and then do that the next day. And that is a happy life. It's not this big pie in the sky. It's a series of happy days. And that has changed my life because I can confidently say I have the happiest life. I love my life. I'm grateful for my life. I find so much joy in my life and it's become a practice now that comes so naturally to me. I pay my tax bill with joy and gratitude.
Oh, okay. All right, let's not take it that far. Jeez.
But you can. It's possible.
Okay. I think you're the only person that would ever say that. I don't think I've ever heard someone say that.
Years and years of telling myself that has made it true. And now even Adrian, when he has to pay the ATO bill, looks at me and goes, with joy and gratitude. And I go, yeah, babe, well done.
Well, Ash London, we are so bloody grateful that you made the time to chat to us. Thank you so much for joining us on the Weekend Briefing.
Thank you, darling.
That was my chat with Ash London there, and her book, Love on the Air, is available in all good bookstores, and a link to that will be in our show notes. Now it is time for the Weekend List, where we recommend what to watch, see, do, eat and listen to. And this week we have, of course, sitting opposite me, Helen Smith. Hello, Helen.
Hello, Chris.
Our first recommendation is from a listener because that's what we're doing this year. We are kicking off every Weekend List with a recommendation from one of you. And this week, Rabia has sent in her recommendation.
Hi, my name's Rabia. I'm from Sydney and I'm a big fan of listening to the podcast. My recommendation is to go out and buy some figs from your local greengrocer and then buy some beautiful bread, toast it, lather it with ricotta and then slice the figs on top of it and drizzle it with honey. Figs are only seasonal for such a short window, so I really recommend you go out and buy some. The riper the better, and they're so, so delicious to have on toast or by themselves.
Brilliant recommendation. Can I actually offer up a better alternative?
Oh, negging straight away.
The better alternative is to hit up at someone in your street that has a fig tree.
Oh, right.
And ransack that tree, girl.
Just wiggle them off if they're over the fence.
Wiggle them off. Oh,
That's what
that is what I've been doing because I love figs, but also both my grandparents have fig trees and they are in season at the moment. One of them has better figs than the other one. I don't have the heart to tell them that it's like, oh, your ones suck.
Shouldn't tell them.
Shouldn't tell them that. But the tree with the better figs is actually already out of season. It's done its thing and made so many and it's done. But I love figs. So thank you so much for that. But with toast and ricotta, I don't think I've ever done that.
How? Have you never heard of
I
it?
do them raw. I do them,
Toast and ricotta or you can make really yummy like bakes or muffins with fig and ricotta, muffins and banana bread. It's so yummy. So I cannot recommend that one enough. That is a great one from our listener. Side note, guys, please send your recommendations in.
Yes, please
we
do that.
love
Yeah,
hearing your
that. That was good.
recommendations. But my first recommendation is a movie. It's called Crime 101. Now, it was good. It was starring Chris Hemsworth.
The pause.
Which we love.
Yes.
And also my favourite, Halle Berry.
Catwoman,
who is our queen. It also had Barry Keoghan, who you might remember was in Saltburn.
No, I'm doing a live Google.
He's Irish.
Oh, yes. You'll know the face.
Mop of hair on his head at the moment. He's doing something for the Beatles, but he looks ridiculous right now. It also had Mark Ruffalo. So really good cast. That's just to name a few. But it was action heavy, really fun. It left me feeling good, but it wasn't groundbreaking. I would say that. But for an action film, it did have a little bit of heart because the main character, Mike, which is played by Chris, our man,
Thor,
he commits robberies, right? Mostly with jewels. So it's about he is a thief, but he's very nice about it. He's a non-violent
lovable thief. Yeah.
And these are millions of dollars of diamonds we're talking about.
Beautiful.
He's controlled by this kind of tough guy called Money in the movie, who's his boss, I guess. But we find out quite a lot about Mike in the film. He came out of foster care and he was kind of groomed into crime. But yeah, look, it's your typical action crime movie, but it has layers, I would say.
Sure. Are we watching this in the movie?
You can watch it in the movies.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, great. I love it. Okay, my first recommendation is also a watching recommendation, but it's not a movie. It's a TikTok of a queen, Celine Dion.
Okay.
Celine Dion has launched TikTok, guys. Well, like she's always been on TikTok, but she's now getting in front of the camera, and it's not
way more active.
It's way more active, and it's not like her team posting highlights reels of her tour, doing these beautiful big ballads. Because let's be honest, she's one of the greatest vocalists of all time. But she's being her goofy, funny self in front of camera, and she's doing the dumbest stuff. I'm going to play a grab for people now.
I'm Celine. This is what's in my bag. Lipstick. I got my own microphone. Just in case something happens, people ask me to sing happy birthday, I'm ready. Unforgettable. Oh, I love so much Guy Sebastian. Guy Sebastian, do you write songs for other people? It takes a lot of balls to get the microphone and pretend that you're on. Do you believe in love to love?
I mean, I love her. She's so, she's cringy in the best possible way. She doesn't take herself too seriously. And she shouted out our boy, Guy Sebastian, because she was going through her music.
Oh.
And they were like, who's some of your favorite?
He would have loved that.
Legit.
He needs that.
She said, Guy, I'm going to butcher the accent, but she was like, does this man write the music? Guy Sebastian, do you write the music? And he does. He's a bloody writer. So
he would.
Maybe there's a Celine Dion, Guy Sebastian collaboration in the future. But yeah, get amongst it. Celine Dion on TikTok. You will not regret it. It's brilliant.
I love that. That's very niche and fun.
Thank
I
you.
do like that.
Yes.
Now, my next recommendation is a bit broad, but I think the Super Bowl hype is kind of calmed down this week. But my recommendation is, if you're living under a rock, if you have not watched the entire Super Bowl performance by Bad Bunny.
From start to finish.
I
don't want you doing
what
clips.
What are you doing?
No, I don't want clips. I want you going and watching that YouTube video.
I want the full video.
Correct.
You can find it on YouTube.
It's for free.
There now.
It's
for
free.
It's free on YouTube. Bad Bunny. He is just so phenomenal. I think if you're feeling a bit down this week and if you need a little bit of hope, I think watch this.
Correct.
It's so feel good, and the messages in it, the political messages, the togetherness messages, the inspiring messages.
The dancing.
Like, oh my God, the dancing, the celeb cameos.
Jessica
Pedro
Alba.
Pascal.
But also, look, the chances are, if you're listening, you're not going to know all the lyrics. You're not going to understand them. You don't need to.
No, you don't
Music
need
is
to.
an international language. Get around it.
I also wouldn't recommend looking up some of them because they're quite dirty lyrics.
Yeah, you're not going to be putting it on in the car if you understand what he's singing
But
about.
I mean, it's a vibe. So
Yeah.
if you haven't watched that, please watch that. Bad Bunny, as we say, is a very good bunny.
Oh,
we
who's
love
we?
him.
Who's
Everyone
we?
knows.
I love
Everyone
that.
says that.
Oh, Helen, that is excellent. Come through with those recommendations. I love it. I love it. I love it. And if you are listening and there is something you want us to recommend or you'd like to recommend to us, please send us a voice note. They are so fun. And that fig thing, I'm definitely going to do it. I know you can barbecue figs, but I didn't know.
You can pan fry them as well if it's easier, and you put a little bit of honey and they crisp up a bit.
Oh, the honey thing. I've slept on it and I'm a fool.
No,
I'm a
it's good.
fool. I'm a fool.
Or you can put brown sugar, but honey is like healthy.
I love it. Yes, please get in touch with us at The Briefing Podcast on Instagram. That is our Instagram page. Thanks, Helen. Thank you for your recommendations. Lovely as always. That is it for this episode of The Weekend Briefing. We will be back with a bonus episode tomorrow, and Sash and I will be on Headlines on Monday morning. I will see you then. See you guys.